Okay, so talk to me about the education system and how you went through it.
And how I
Like what was your experience of education in Australia?
Um, so the education system that I grew up knowing was all about the settlement, the white man's settlement in Australia. I was never taught any of my own people's culture, nor our history. I was never taught any of my own language, nor my own culture. I grew up knowing only what I was told, and because of the environment that I was raised in, I was never also taught my own culture by my elders, because my culture and my language has been lost through the generations. Next question.
Okay, so why do you think that is? Do you think you got along well with the kids in your school?
I got along well with everyone at school, but the reason why we were never taught anything about Aboriginal education is because it wasn't part of the curriculum. We were told what we were needed to be told, and what we did know about our own culture was only what was passed down through by the elders, and the elders didn't know that much, or could not teach us that much, because they were also deculturalised, and they were taught that if we spoke about certain things, like our culture, our behaviour, our ways, it was very forbidden. And it was also drummed in a lot of our people that if you was to speak about such things, you weren't punished. So it was best to not talk about it at all than to talk about it, or to even educate the next generation.
So, what about in your family? Did you learn more about your culture with the family setting?
With my family, again, like we were very much deculturalised, so I didn't get to know much at all. All I knew is that the nation that I was from, which was the Yuin Nation from Nowra, South Coast, we all never had a language to speak of, because it was easier for us to learn the English language than to try and carry on our own native tongue. And when it comes down to it, I mean, it was just something that wasn't spoken of. And I know for a fact that the elders in my generation, they wanted our children to get an education. There was any kind of education, and to be able to get along, get further ahead in just normal life, and to be happy, and just to get a job, get a house, work hard. But also, it wasn't until 1983 that we actually was able to to be granted a voice, the first time to actually vote in Australia. So we were also we knew that we were not recognised as people of the Commonwealth, but that wasn't until after the referendum in 1983.
Okay, and
Don't quote me on that referendum. I believe that is exactly what it is, but don't quote me on that.
okay, I won't quote you on that.
Yeah.
If it's false, I will edit it out.
Yeah. Just edit that out. Yeah.
So, talk about your life now. Tell me what you're doing now, and how has the education system helped you in sort of assimilating yourself into this society?
Okay. Well, through my primary school years, I had a terrible learning of trying to read and write. It wasn't until I was in year 7 where I taught myself to read and write. Right now, I'm doing very well with my life. I am working very hard. I am progressing in a way I never thought I would. I have done several courses. I am now a picker of a warehouse, which is a job that I absolutely love. I am surrounded by great, absolutely fantastic people, which I would never trade in for the world. But I believe that if there was more of an assistance in the education that I had when I was younger, I could have easily would have been a lawyer, a doctor, or who knows. I'm very grateful though that because of the generation that I was growing up in, it was the next generation that actually had that extra opportunity to be granted that extra assistance, that extra education that I never got as a child, that my niece now does have, and she is now a lawyer, which I'm very blessed that she's had that opportunity. And it's with anything really, it comes down to trial and error. But I'm glad that for me it was trial and error. They knew what was needed to be done, and my niece was very lucky to become a lawyer.